Do you ever wonder what it's like to play college football? Do you ever wonder what it's like to play college football at one of the most academically challenging places in the country? Have you ever wondered what it's like to serve your country? Well, how about doing all of that at one time? If that's something that interests you, well, our guests tonight can talk a little bit about that. We've got Coast Guard Academy head football coach Bill George and starting quarterback Derek Victory. That's right. Victory is in the house tonight on Casey and the Sports Doctor. So, Derek, let me start off with you. How about that? What is a day in the life of a Coast Guard Academy quarterback?
The day in the life for me is busy. It starts at 6 a.m. every single day. And it's structured too, which I like. I like the organization that it has. But go to class from basically 8 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I usually have a couple hours off, but for the most part, that's pretty full. Practice goes from about 4:30 to probably 7. Eat a quick dinner, and then it's homework for the rest of the night.
Now,
and it's like that every night, too.
What are you studying?
I'm majoring in government right now.
In government right now. So when is the Coast Guard Academy keg party? When is that? That's not on
Not
the
a
agenda.
thing, not a thing.
Coach, 18 years on the job. This is you're entering your 18th season. I'd imagine that Derek's got to be smart to play in your offense.
They're all smart, and we do run a complicated offense. But you have guys that are very book smart,
Football smart,
and football smart, and they can turn it on at 4 o'clock. You can have a offensive lineman who can decipher NFL blitzes and ask a Supreme Court justice a question in the next hour, and those are the kind of guys these guys are. So
I mean, do they have to be that way though to go to the Coast Guard Academy?
Yeah, I'd say you have to be well-rounded. You have to be a leader in all situations, whether it's on the field or off the field. And these guys are football. They know how to turn it on and turn it off, and they're football fans, but they know they have other agenda too.
Is it different, do you think, coaching kids that are that smart? I've heard, that when you want people to sort of follow orders, sometimes being too smart can lead to some paralysis. Do you ever encounter that with kids that are almost too smart?
No, I think that the only thing you have to do is you have to fit it into that schedule of the academy. I don't think they're any different than other football players. Some of the stuff you have to make sure you drill. You can't put a surprise play in at the last minute. They'll say, well, we didn't practice enough because they're used to drilling. So you got to make sure you set it up as a drill. But for the most part, no, it's the academy structure that you have to weave the football into.
Now, Coach, you guys run the spread bit of a read option type of offense. What is the challenges that you may have as a staff, because you don't go out and get a chance to handpick your kids. Your kids come to you. There's a different bit of feel in the recruiting process.
Well, we're recruiting. We're out there actively recruiting. We just don't get to pick everybody you want. They've got to meet the criteria. And when you're up at the top of the food chain, like the Coast Guard Academy, the people you recruit have other choices. So we run the spread because it's exciting. And I think this year, as I see these first couple practices, I think we're going to have an exciting offense. We've built on the defense the last couple of years.
Well, I know Derek was hurt for part of last season, so starting off with a healthy quarterback has to be a different place, a good place to start going into the practices.
Absolutely, and a lot of Derek's success as he grew, he cut down on his turnovers last year. The name of the game in football, I don't care what level you play at, his turnovers. He cut down, kept us in a lot of games. We're excited to have him back, and he looks sharp. I saw one of our better read option plays just as we walked off the field a few minutes ago by Derek. It looked like you could put it on TV.
Now, Derek, how has the rigors of the classroom and the rigors of the football field helped you not only as a student but as a player as well? Does it go hand in hand?
Yeah, I think so. Especially for a quarterback in the offense we run, discipline's kind of the name of the game. And like I said, everything we do kind of has a structure and organization to it, and the same thing goes with our offense as well. Like this play, we'll set up this play, we'll set up this play. So I like it. School's kind of the same way. So pretty much my whole day is structured around like that organization aspect.
You like running or throwing it?
I love throwing it. Yeah, I'm a little smaller, but I like throwing it.
Yeah,
you like to let it rip.
We throw it around.
All right.
I've always wondered this. We kind of opened with it. You're not a typical college student. You're not only at an institution that's challenging academically, but you're held to a standard higher than maybe, there's a handful of schools in the whole country that are held to the standard you're held to. And on top of it, there's a bigger picture for you than simply graduating from college. Talk to us about what it's like to have that bigger picture and the burden that goes with it.
Well, I've had that big picture in my mind since I was probably a little kid. like most of my friends wanted to be like professional football players. I wanted to play football at the Coast Guard Academy and serve in the Coast Guard. So I've wanted to do that since I was a little kid. But I think the stuff that I've learned on the football field since I was 5 years old has kind of helped me, like this leadership aspect, the discipline aspect, all of that is just kind of leading me up to when I finally graduate and whatever I'll be doing when I get out into the field.
What do you think you want to do when you graduate?
I want to go to a boat. I'm not really picky as to where. When I was a little kid, I wanted to fly helicopters. That's why I originally joined. But since then, I've learned a lot more about the Coast Guard and about what we do. I want to go to a boat somewhere.
Now, you mentioned the discipline and the great things you learned from 5 years old. We've talked on this show a number of times the importance of youth coaches, how important youth coaches are in getting kids started on the road to high school, to college. Who was your youth football coach?
From probably the time I was 7 to probably the time I was like 12, my mother was my youth football coach. And she was the main reason I got into football. When I was 5 years old, I was new to South Florida. It was kind of like a way to meet friends is how she looked at it, because I was brand new. I really didn't want to play, and from basically that first snap, I loved it ever since.
Well, I can tell you right now, you guys start your season up in a few weeks, and you're getting close right now.
Yeah, and you worry about all the little things, but when you have a guy like Derek at the control, some of the stuff you worry about, he takes care of for you. So
I won't ask the coaches, Derek, but I'll ask you, what's the one team on the schedule that you got a bullseye on? The one team you want to play?
Merchant Marine Academy. They got one from us last year. So
you owe them payback in your senior year.
Yes, sir. It'll be nice to get the trophy back.
And I have this marked down. It's the home opener at the Coast Guard Academy on September 10th. That's when you can go and see if they can bring it back against
Great place
Merchant.
to see a football game. If you haven't been down there at Coast Guard Academy, tremendous venue, Coach.
yeah, you know what? I've been around college football my whole life, and you cannot see a better game on TV or in person than the Merchant Marine Academy at Coast Guard anywhere. It's as exciting a game as there is anywhere in the country, with a great venue, and it's just fabulous.
Now, you've been doing this a long time, so it's not like there's a lot of new things coming your way, but you had to have a good feeling when you brought in a quarterback named Victory.
Yeah, you know he did. I think Coach Fleischman saw him at an all-star practice. By the way, we didn't bring him in too early. He got off the wait list about a month before he came.
That's correct.
So Victory came late to the Coast Guard Academy.
I think
very late.
So, and he hung in there, and thank God he did. You know, he hung in there and hung in there, and yeah, you know, I remember Coach Fleischman telling me when he went down to recruit him that he saw him at an all-star game, and he was this kid who, I don't think he won that many games in high school.
No, we won 3 games.
Three games, and he was with all these Division I kids, and we said, well, we thought he was kind of overlooked, but it did well.
Listen, Derek, go into your formation. That's what the coach wants to say at the end of every game this year.
I don't think there's a coach in the world that doesn't love taking a knee more than any other play.
In the last 20 seconds of the game.
Now, he's humble, so I don't know about this, but be honest. Do you look in the mirror at home and make up sayings using your own, Victory is here tonight? I mean, you have to, come on, it's the best game.
I've honestly I've never done that, but
Casey would.
The amount of times I've heard people come up with cheesy things to say.
When you get out of the shower, does your teammates go, the sweet smell of victory? I mean,
no, it all depends on my practice was that day.
Well, I would love to be the play-by-play guy in the Merchant game, as they're rushing around the end, and you're elusive, and you're rushing, and I can yell, and Victory eludes them. It would be such a great call. I really would love to be your play-by-play guy. I would have so much fun with it.
All right, big expectations this year, Coach?
We always have them, and
Yeah.
I think this group has worked very hard. I'm pleased where they are. Again, though, the minute you walk off the practice field, you see, okay, we've got to correct these mistakes to get to those big expectations. But yeah, I'm excited. I think we're going to be back to where we were a couple years ago offensively. We've got some bodies to fill defensively, but kids step up at the academy.
Coach, before I let you go, what do you look for in high school kids? What are the traits that you want to see high school kids display that would lead them to a place like the Coast Guard Academy?
There's one thing I ask every kid that comes into my office when we come up for a visit, and you're a little bit different than maybe a person with 3 earrings and green hair. But are you a little bit different than even your very best friend on the football team? And you got to have something in you that says, I want to sacrifice, I want to serve my country, I want to do what the Coast Guard does. Because you can't twist somebody's arm to make them a different person. They have to have something in them, and then you've got to recruit them against those other high-level academic schools and the other service academies.
What would be your advice to the kids that are, because we have a lot of kids that are going to watch the show, and what would be your advice to them, to the kids that are in high school right now, if they want to get to where you're at?
Definitely, I think the big thing they look for is test scores, so SAT, ACT. I know I took each one 5 times, which is probably way too much, but I had to take it 5 times just to get like a good enough score. And then just on top of that, you know, just take school seriously. A lot of my friends back home didn't. And unfortunately, they're finding out now that things are a lot tougher than
they're there and you're
expected.
here.
Exactly.
That's, yeah.
So just that. It's pretty simple too.
Well, if you have someplace better to be on September 10th, I can't imagine where it would be. Head on to the Coast Guard Academy and watch them take on their arch rivals in the home opener. We want to thank head football coach Bill George and quarterback Derek Victory for joining us on Casey and the Sports Doctor. And we're very much looking forward to the upcoming season of the Coast Guard Academy.